Okay guys, so I have another smartphone unboxing. This one is a Bluboo Maya Max. This phone is a 6-inch phone, which is huge. Basically, I sold the system the other day, and I had the parts for, well, I had most of the parts for a system already lying around, which was the X4845, which I think might actually be out after this, but you'll see it nonetheless. But yeah, so all I had to buy for that system was a graphics card. Yeah, it was a graphics card and a power supply. So after selling the system, I had a bit of money left. And my phone, my Asus Zenfone 2, decided to stop charging. And if I wanted to charge it, I basically had to take the connector. This is a Asus ZenPad 2. Take the connector and pull it. So I was actually hanging my phone off a drawer that I had the power lead clamped in, and it was hanging off just so it was making good contact. And even at that, I could charge it for 2 hours and it would be at 17%. So I got sick of it, bought a phone, bought this Bluboo Maya Max. I'm very happy about it. I think this might be the power brick. And this here is the phone along with our adapter, power adapter, because we use the UK plugs. Even though we're in Ireland, people keep thinking we're in the UK. We're not. And then we'll go with the small bag first. Sorry if the table's moving. Let me shove a piece of paper under one of the legs because one of the wheels on this desk are broken. So rather than opening them normally, we just cut them. It'll make life much easier. And this is another charging brick. I reckon this is a fast charger because this phone comes with quick charge. It's also USB Type-C, which is quite cool. Yeah. I'm sorry if the camera quality isn't as good, but basically the phone I normally use to record my videos, which is a Microsoft Lumia 640, is my father's phone, and he's in work, and he brought his phone with him because he's on the bus today. You don't know what he does, and I'd rather not tell you, to be honest with you. There's nothing bad, I'm just saying, keep his life private. But yeah. Quality control passed, that's nice to see. You can see Bluboo on the box. Beyond your life. Thank you. Bluboo Maya Max has an MTK 6750. It's an octa-core Android 6. I was looking for an Android 7 phone, but I couldn't find one that had all the stuff I wanted. It's a 6-inch phone, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of ROM, an 8 megapixel front camera, 13 megapixel rear camera. More than I'll ever need for Snapchat, basically, because I don't use my phone to record videos. But yeah, so the specifications here has an octa-core MTK 6750, 3 gigs of RAM. What was that? Oh, that's a Facebook notification. Sorry if I hit the camera. I was hoping it'd say something about the screen. Oh yeah, sorry, it's a 720p screen. I know it would have been nice to get a 1080p, but I mean, phone's a phone, all I have to do is look at it, it doesn't have to be anything special. And it's also a 4200 milliamp hour battery. That was my biggest complaint with the Zenfone 2. It was a great phone, but I got the 1080p version with the 4 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of ROM. What they did was they kept the same battery between the 720p and the 1080p version, and so that caused the 1080p version to pull more power because it was an underrated battery for the specification. And so I'd be using Snapchat, and every 10 seconds it would probably go down a percentage, and obviously that's an over-exaggeration, but you know, it's pretty close to that. And so when you open the box, you have a bit of padding up at the top, which is nice to see. Sometimes it's just a blank box. That just means if it gets knocked around in shipping and this lifts up a bit, it has padding there. So getting into the phone itself, have it here. As you can see, it's huge. It's a big device. This is Asus ZenPad 2. As far as I know, this is a 9-inch screen, I think. I want to say 9-inch. Or maybe somewhere around there. But, like, it's big. Calling this a phablet is an understatement. Like, it's a very heavy device. It's a very hefty device, and I quite like the feeling of that. As you can see, the back has this brushed, I'm going to say aluminum to please anyone who isn't from Europe or whatever. But it has a brushed aluminium back. You can see the fingerprint scanner there, which is pretty cool. I saw that and kind of giggled to myself. You have the 13 megapixel rear camera. It is just exposed from the back a little bit. Dual flash. We just have some information around here, the model of the phone, make, and I will take that rear cover off now in a minute. As you can see, it just has, on the front it has the SIM card slot, and your pin to get into the SIM card slot also acts as a cover for your 3.5mm jack, which is quite cool, like a dust cover. It also means it's hard to lose it if you want to keep it in there. But yeah, there's your 3.5mm headphone jack. Volume button, volume up and down, lock key, and you actually have a mute switch. People were saying it's kind of hard to press that. I'm not seeing that as an issue at all. Now, take this off. It actually has a screen protector on it already, which is very, very nice. I see one little bubble on it, and it's in an area that I will never notice it, so that's fine. Just keep right there. Now, getting on to the rest of the box. And it even comes with a clear kind of rubberish case. I want to say silicone, but I'm not sure it is actually silicone. I can't think of the actual material. But has grips down the side, which will help me hold the phone. That's nice. And it's very flexible. It's also clear, so you don't miss out on the look of this phone, because this phone, I have to say, is a very, very pretty phone. If it would want to go on. There we go. There you go. Sorry, my voice is gone. And as you can see, this case also has lifted corners, so if you drop it, it's not going to hit the brunt of the device. It's going to push that around the case a little bit. Grips are nice, and I can still see the back of the phone. I still need to take that rear piece of plastic off. But I'm glad it comes with a case, because now I don't have to buy one. I don't like the cases that cover the front of the phone, you know, like it's a flap over and you have to, don't like them. They kind of annoy me. I prefer the ones that are just like this, and this will help me a lot. Now coming to the rear, try and find a way to get this plastic off. That can be stuck on the wall too. There we go. Alright, well, already one thing I noticed, I don't know if you can hear it, but the mute button and the volume button and lock button rattle. No, I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. That's actually not too bad at all. But it would have been nice to see that not happen, considering, you know, they're trying to make a great phone for the cheaper market. And also, you can also hear on the high end of that, the speakers which are down here. I believe one is a microphone, one is a speaker. Yeah, my mother's getting notifications. I'm using her phone to record this, just because my father did not leave his phone here. But yeah, this is also USB Type C, as you can see there. Yeah, you can hear in the high end of that starting sequence. I'm gonna have to set up my fingerprint. In the starting sequence of that, the audio, when it peaked, you heard rattling. So the speakers on this aren't the best, but I rarely ever use speakers. I'm a bit of an audio freak, to be perfectly honest, and so I have a good few pairs of headphones lying around. I'll probably end up just using my Thermaltake Shock headphones for most of this. So when I lock it, or when I mute it, you can hear it vibrate. So it's nice, if it was in your pocket and I hit, you'd be able to feel the bit of vibration. And it does not have an apps drawer, it actually just has them all on the main page. I mean, it feels pretty good for a brand new phone. Sometimes you need to give it a couple of minutes to settle in, but it seems to be perfectly fine now. Do they have any? No. Sometimes phones come with like a test video or a few pictures, so you can see how good the screen is. But what price? Turn it up full brightness. So it's a pretty bright phone. I mean, like, I'm sure I'll be able to see that in the day, and I have a good few lights on in here. I mean, like one right there, one right behind me, and the actual room light is on. And it still looks perfectly fine. I know that doesn't really simulate like sunlight all too well, but I mean, has to do something. Excuse me, I'm getting all clogged up in my throat for some reason. Guess it's just hay fever. I'm looking for Play Store. Next. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna have to go into the settings to do all that. Well, it's on 51% right now, which is pretty good. I'm gonna go set this thing up, get some of my apps, and I'll come back to you when I have that done so we can test out how I think it works. Okay, so I have the main app I'm probably only ever going to use installed now. Try to get that case properly on. So now I can unlock it with the fingerprint. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. And I actually get notifications from Snapchat now, which is quite nice. And I need to get my emojis. That's one thing I definitely need to do, because I use them way too much. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, I've used the phone now for a couple of minutes, and I have to say it seems to respond well. The only issue I have is, oh, it's not doing it now. Oh, okay. But what it was doing was I was simply putting it down and just being horizontal. Snapchat's shake to, oh, there we go, shake to report. I know Snapchat shake to report feature was being like enabled, even though it was simply just sitting on the desk. I think that was just a screw up with Snapchat, but that's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to now also record some videos and take a couple of pictures, and I'll show you kind of the quality of them. I'll put them onto the system and start editing. Go to camera. I cannot do this one-handed. Yeah, good enough. But you might just get a kind of a feel for how this looks. Okay, well, this would normally be the part of the video where I would do some like Antutu benchmarks or whatever. But personally, I don't like a phone to be decided over a figure on some form of synthetic benchmark. I mean, like a phone might not have the best processor. It might not be as quick as some other phones, but if it feels nice to use, then I don't see why I should go for something else just because it gets a better rating on a certain app. But I mean, it hasn't dropped Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi signal's still strong. The screen looks really nice. It has pretty good viewing angles. I mean, the colors get distorted a little bit, but I mean, other than that, it's fine. Um, the camera looks really good. I think recording in low light can make some color shifting, but when I have all these lights working, it's not coming up. But I digress. It's a pretty heavy phone, but it's not heavy that you get annoyed at using it. It's heavy as in like quality feeling. It's a very big phone, and I like that. I like bigger phones. Just I was gonna go for a 5.5 inch. Then I saw this for the same price as most of the other 5 and 5.5 inches, and I thought, why not go for a bigger screen again? But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it, I have to say. Um, it is a very good phone. Just from using it from these few minutes, I can tell you it's a pretty good phone. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but when you think about the price tag, how could you think it was something spectacular? But I mean, if you're paying this much for a phone, I would expect a brick, a literal brick. But um, it's it's a pretty good bargain. Pretty good doesn't even explain it. It's a very good bargain. I mean, if you're looking for a phone, this would probably be a very good one to get, especially if you don't have a big budget and you're looking for a nice big screen and all that. Fingerprint scanner. You know, it has all the stuff up there that all the high end phones have. And I mean, it's what, like a sixth or seventh of the cost. But I mean, other than that, there isn't much more. I don't like going into the specifics of gets this score in this benchmark and that score in that benchmark. I mean, if it works well and I enjoy using it, that's about the best I'm going to say about it. I mean, it gets my recommendation, and I've reviewed a few phones, and I can say this feels probably better than most of them. And I mean, I'm kind of already liking it more than my Zenfone 2 when I used that for what, maybe 2 years, and I was looking to get one of those for I don't know how long. I don't know how long before I actually got one, and that served me well. But I mean, if it's gonna break like that, and the charger's just gonna die, I don't know. But this feels quality. I know the buttons and all that rattle a little bit, but I mean, other than that, it's more than quality. That's really all I have to say about this phone. It's quality. It feels good. I'm gonna test the audio real quick, and I know I said it probably won't be amazing, but give it a shot anyway. I don't want. Okay, okay. YouTube. I'm not getting copyright strikes, so what did I put on? have no idea where the microphone on this phone is, so I'm just moving it around. I mean, you can hear a bit of rattling around with that speaker, but if you listen to a bit of music, throw it on the desk and you're doing something, I mean, it'll get the job done. It sounds pretty good. There's Messenger on off. It sounds pretty good for like what it is, if you get me. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything amazing, and that's not what you get. And I'm not bashing the phone. I'm actually saying that's fine. You're sticking to your market. Of course, it'd be nice to see better speakers, but they have to compromise on something to give you that kind of price, right? And if they're putting a fingerprint scanner on it, that's more budget taken up. So what do? They put bad speakers in it, even though most people probably use headphones if they listen to music. You know, it's a give and take, but I mean, it's a give and take where it's necessary and where I would probably take as well. I mean, as long as they don't take from the camera, which is something a lot of people use daily, including myself, and they have a mute button, which is a pretty good feature, I think. Um, that'll help me especially. Well, actually, not in secondary school anymore. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say when I go into class, I can just mute it and it'll make everything easier. But actually, I graduated a few weeks ago, so that won't be happening until I'm in college, and well, God knows when that'll be. But that's basically it. So for what I think is about 140 euro is what I paid for this, if I'm thinking correctly. About between 140 and 160 euro. It's similar in dollars. As far as I know, this phone was going for 160 US dollars. You're getting a 6-inch 720p screen. I know 720p. A lot of people want 1080p, but I mean, this is a good-looking 720p screen, and you will not really see you're not going to be able to tell that it's definitely 720p. I mean, it looks very good. It's very crisp. Yeah, so you have a 6-inch 720p IPS panel. You have an octa-core that runs at, I believe, 1.3. I might say it. No, it doesn't say what frequency the CPU's at. Yeah, you have an 8 megapixel front camera, which is pretty good. A 13 megapixel rear camera, which again is pretty good. Speakers aren't amazing, but I've spoke about that. Fingerprint scanner. Yeah, fingerprint scanner. And what else? You have 4G, 3G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Hotnot. It even has the turbo download, so you can use your data and your Wi-Fi to download stuff really, really quickly. I rarely ever have data, which is kind of sad. Actually, I often need it, but yeah, you can use it if you want. And I can tell you one thing: it definitely beats using this for the past while. I mean, it's good, but nothing beats being able to carry a phone around outside. I felt like a caveman the past week or so. I haven't had a phone because my phone wouldn't bloody charge. But there we go. That's basically it for this unboxing and review. I know it was a very brief review, but I'm kind of trying to come at it at a more consumer sort of way. I'm not looking to say buy this because it gets a good benchmark rating. I'm doing it because buy this. It feels good to use. It's a nice phone. It is amazing quality for the price. I would more than recommend the Bluboo name in general. We got the Bluboo Maya, the original Maya, not the Maya Max, before we reviewed that. And I mean, using that, I didn't put any of my apps on it, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed using that, so when I saw the Maya Max, kind of thought I should probably go for it. But yeah, so I'll have this phone now for the next while until I feel it fit to get a new one. And I'm pretty happy with the decision I made. I mean, 4200 milliamp hour battery, that's going to last me a good while. USB Type C, I mean, I'm not sure that particularly matters, but I know it's another feature you can flaunt about to your friends, can't you? Now, I know this isn't the longest cable ever, but if you get a USB Type C connector or cable off Amazon, you'll be fine. There we go. Now it's charging. But there we go. So, yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.